Hello, and welcome to another political action workshop with the Detroit chapter of CBTU. And our series is entitled Know Before You Go, Vote. And Phil Holyfield, who is our second vice president and co-producer of this program, and myself are honored to have our president. He is the president of the national chapter of CBTU, Mr. Terry Melvin. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Hey, it's great to be here with you, Michael.
And you have a great career, but also a very busy schedule. So we're going to get right into it, sir. First of all, President Melvin, can you tell the folk a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with CBTU?
Well, I've been a active member of CBTU for over 25 years now. I started out, I went to my first convention and got hooked when I saw so many Black folks running big stuff and talking about issues of importance, not just in the labor movement, but in our community. And they were there and they were laying out the issues. And I was hooked the first time I showed up at convention, inspired myself and a few other folks in the Buffalo area to come back and create a Buffalo chapter of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. And I became the region director in Region 1 in '96, served in that position until 10 years ago, when our first and president, Bill Lucy, president emeritus now, retired and gave up the reins, and I assumed the presidency 10 years ago. And it's been part of my legacy is what I want to see, is that we have been able to clearly change and shift the paradigm within the labor movement, that Black labor's voices are at the top of the movement. And there's a clear connection between the labor movement and the Black community. And the needs of the Black community are at the forefront of the labor movement, and they understand what our needs are, and they're a part of meeting our needs. And I just want to give a shout out to you, Michael, for the work that you guys have been doing in Detroit to lift up the brand of CBTU, so the folks know that, you know, we're out there and we're doing this work not just 2 or 3 or 5 days before the election, but this is work that we have to do 365 days a year to educate our members and educate our community of the issues that are out there that affect us each and every day. I say all the time, if we don't fix somebody's grandmama's issues that's working, then we're not meeting their needs. It's not just about a collective bargaining agreement, but it's about the whole member we have to be looking at. And that means we have to know what their needs are at home for each of our members and make sure that they are dealt with within our movement.
Some of the things that you're talking about, and we, Phil and I, myself, and Michelle Thomas, and Pam Powell, we had some churches speaking to people, and we were telling them, discussing the issues, explaining the issues to them. But when the union vote rises, when labor rises, the entire country rises.
Evidently, definitely, most definitely. I mean, we lift the boats of everybody as a labor movement. But, you know, this election that we're in, Michael, is so pivotal. I mean, there is so much at stake in this election. I've heard about some apathy in our community. Look, we can't buy the hype. We cannot be divided. The Black and brown community must be one. We must be together, and we must be looking out for our issues here. The fact that our democracy is under attack, and the fact that there's people out there that's supporting, not allowing people to determine who's going to elect them in the halls of Congress, or not allowing people to determine who's going to be representing them in the White House. That is pivotal to the whole fabric of this thing we call a democracy here in the United States of America. Yes, I know we had a lot of issues out there. You know, the fact that the other side, and I'm going to say the other side because I ain't on that side, because they went out when the president did this student loan forgiveness, how they jumped and screamed and hollered about giving folks a chance that have went through college and have all these bills underneath their belt, to give them $10,000 or $20,000 to help wipe out some of this. When they were the first ones, the same one that are hollering about giving our kids a break, These are the same ones that was out there put more money in for PPP loans. Forgive the PPP loans. Give the banks the bailout every time you turn around. We've got to be, our folks have got to be looking at these issues for what they really are. I mean, 45 wasn't a joke and still ain't a joke, y'all. We got to get in here and fight against this. I do not want to go back to them 4 years that he was in office.
President Melvin, what would you say to the people, especially the ones in labor, and if there's any CBTU members who may have done it, who voted, in my opinion, against their interests? Who voted for a man like 45?
You know what? There's some folks that we just got to talk to one-on-one. I mean, there is folks in our movement that vote against their interests every day. But what I think we have to just have one-on-one conversations with these people. And again, Michael, like you guys are doing in Detroit, this can't be a run-up to election conversation and we trying to grab them and get them to see. We've got to talk about these issues every day of the year. Every week we've got to be bringing up new issues. And then when election time comes up, what we do then is just connect the issues to the positions of the candidates. And then the people can clearly see who is for them and who's against them. I mean, the fact that we've got a Supreme Court, a wild Supreme Court here that have thrown out the Dobbs, or Roe v. Wade, with the Dobbs decision. Come on, they have now jumped into the room with the doctor and the patient. The whole government has jumped into this room and they're going to tell a woman what she can do with her body. Look, I am pro-life myself. I believed in the sanctity of life, but I do not believe that I have a right to tell a woman what she has to do with her body. There is some extremists out there, and there's some of our states that have been taking action to make sure in the individual state that women have a right to reproductive freedom within the state. However,
we had that in Michigan.
But you got crazy folks like Lindsey Graham and them. And them supporters,
Don't forget Dr. Oz.
Yeah, right, and Dr. Oz who's saying that it ought to be a national ban on abortion, a national ban. Now, what gives you the right to go into somebody's bedroom and talk about what they can or can't do or how they're going to control their life? I mean, there's something wrong with that, and we got to look at this. Now, we got some issues with the economy, but look, those are some legacy issues. We can't buy the hype, Michael. What we say is, okay, bread is high, eggs is high, it's Biden's fault. It takes 2-3 years for policies to settle in. What we are feeling the effect of is these tax breaks, and that was given to the richest of the rich under the previous administration. It's now folding in. Those people that are getting all the tax breaks, those people that are getting all the money, guess what? Those are same people that are raising all the prices.
And making all the money.
All the profits, right? And Biden he didn't get no money for this. But that's
one of the things we're saying here in Detroit is that yes, we understand prices are going up and down, and don't forget about when Gerald Ford is president, but that's temporary.
That's right.
When they take away your rights, that's
permanent. Right. Absolutely. I mean, you can deal with that, and we can get that under control if we have the right people in place. Now, look, we had 2 years of, we had a Democratic Senate, somewhat. We had a Democratic House, and we had the White House. But we couldn't count on the Senate, right? We couldn't count on the Senate because we had two that would be siding with the Republicans. Every time the president or the majority of the Democrats want to do something, they side with the Republicans. I mean, the infrastructure bill that we got passed, thank God we got something passed, but we were talking about trillions of dollar bill that went down to billions.
Well, Mr. President, we just had I had an opportunity to, Phil and I had a chance to sit down with our governor here in Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And one of the things we talked about was what you're just saying, and that when how important your vote is. If President Biden wasn't the president, would the Build Back Better, then the new plants that are being here for the electrical cars that are being built, in that bill, they said they have to be union shops. It wouldn't happen otherwise.
Absolutely. This is the most pro-union administration that we've ever had. I've been doing this stuff for a few decades now. As far as I can remember, and being a historian on this stuff, this is the most look, Biden ain't afraid to say I'm pro-union. He's
Yeah.
not afraid to say that everybody ought to have a union job and a union card. He's not afraid to recognize that the union made the middle class in this country. He's not afraid to say that the unions are the ones that bring up the wages, salaries, and benefits for everybody in this country. He's not afraid to do that. But we haven't had that before. I mean, we haven't had that before. And the previous administration was trying to kill the unions. And we got to see what's going on in this country if we want to get ahead.
Well, not only killing the unions, but killing the working people who aren't in the unions. Again, we rise it up. But let's talk about it in the last few minutes that we have about this nationwide. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist person, but what the hell is going on? Like, for example, here in Michigan, we have an African-American woman who is running for Secretary of State who just put a lawsuit in to stop the count or negate the count of absentee ballots that have already been turned in. She wants to throw out all these votes, but it's not just here in Michigan, it's all over the country. What is your take on that? All these different laws that are being put into different state houses.
Well, first of all, let me say, my color, not my kind. Everybody that's our color ain't for us, right? We remember Clarence Thomas. I mean, everybody our color ain't for us. But that is the bedrock of what the Republicans are doing all across the nation. What they are doing is promising what they're going to do. They're saying, we're going to take your vote and we're going to throw it out the window. Don't matter which way you vote. I mean, we got people running for state houses, running for Secretary of State in states that is saying right now as they're running, if the 24 election is not pleasing to me, the results in my state, I'm not going to certify it. So what they're saying to the people in that state is no matter what you do, if you don't vote the way I want you to, I'm not going to certify your vote. What the hell is going on in this country? And there are folks out there in these states where the race is neck and neck. The race is neck and neck. Our folks have got to get out and vote. I mean, everything is on the line in this election. 22 is setting up 24. Let's make no mistake about it. Everything that is being done right now, they are putting the pegs in place to steal 24. And if we allow them at the state level to get these people in place, because remember, the votes come in by state. If we allow them to get these deniers in place, these folks that after all the lawsuits that 45 did, not one came back positive, not one in his favor, and you still got folks out there saying that the election was stolen. What is going on? And our folks are apathetic. Our folks are apathetic, Michael. We've got to.
Why do you think Phil and I were just talking about that before we went on the air, especially talking about our young people. So let me switch just a little bit. Mr. President, how do we get our younger members of CBTU, our younger members of labor, our younger members in the community to vote?
Yeah, that is, as you know, Michael, that is something we've been struggling with for some time. We've got a different, this young generation today ain't our young generation. I mean, when we were coming up, you sat down at the kitchen table, you was having conversation, you knew what you were going to do on election day based on the conversation at the table. Well, we don't have dinner at the table no more. The family ain't coming together like they used to come together. They're not talking about these issues. They took civics out of school. So only thing our children know and these young folks know is what they get off the internet. And they determining what they want. They're not watching the news. They're not watching CNN, MSNBC. They're not watching ABC. They're not even watching Fox News. They picking up what they want off the internet when they want to see it. And there are all kind of conspiracy theories out there. So what they're doing is they're buying the hype. What they're being sold is ain't no use in going out and vote because you ain't getting nothing out of it. And they're starting to buy this. So I mean, for us, again, I go back to what I started with earlier, Michael. It is an education that we have to do an ongoing thing. We can't wait till just before the election. Every year, you get millions of new 18-year-olds in this country. We got to catch them in high school. We got to start there with them. We got to catch them when they come out. We got to register them when they come out. And we got to stay connected to them. mean, we've got to use our teachers unions more effectively in this area to connect more effectively. We as a Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, A. Philip Randolph Institute, we've got to use all of our resources to start mentoring our youth. We can't wait for somebody else to do it. This is our job. This is our job to lead at this moment in time. We always sit back and wait for somebody else to come in. We can't do that anymore.
In the last few minutes of the program, what is the job you want us as CBTU members and people who aren't in CBTU, but I'm coming out there to recruit you and have you join CBTU, because we see what's happening in Georgia with Stacey Abrams and the lies they tell her that she's down, she's not down. We see that they will actually put up a man who's unqualified to be a senator and they're talking about he's neck and neck with Reverend Warnock, who is a senator. And Arizona with Kerry Lake and Looney Tunes and Margaret. What do we need to do as CBTU members? Give us our
look right now, Michael. Let me just tell you, we've got a automated phone banking system, a national phone banking system that we are asking CBTU members to sign up for in these last few days that we got it going on. We've got a national texting program that we're asking all of our CBTU members to sign up for. We are texting, we are phone banking in the Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, Florida, Georgia. We are, as much as we can, we are trying to touch as many Black folks as we can and say, look, just go vote. Just get up and just go vote. Everything is on the line. And that's what can we do in these last 4 or 5 days? That's it. Call your auntie, call your uncle, call your friends in those battleground states and tell them to tell their folks to get out and vote. This is all going to be about turnout. In these next few days, it's going to be about turnout, Michael. And if we turn out one more, we win. We turn out one more, we win. And every vote is got to count in this election, and we've got to be monitoring it. If somebody sees that there's a problem with their votes, they need to be contacting us so that we can get folks out there and see what we can do to fix the situation. But that's what we can do, man. I mean, we're in the last few days of this. We just got to get folks out to vote. That's what it's about right now.
And I know you're proud of all your chapters and internationally as well, not just here in America. For example, at CBTU, we partner with the Detroit NAACP, where we train poll watchers and challengers. So we're gonna be there. We actually have buses that we're taking this weekend. We're picking people up from their homes, but we ain't gonna stop at the lottery store. I know they won't get that $1 billion, but we ain't stopping at the lottery. But we're gonna take them to we have satellite places in Detroit on Saturday and Sunday. And those are the kind of things that we're doing in Detroit. And there's so many other great CBTU chapters that are doing some wonderful, wonderful things. But I just want to tell you, thank you, sir, for taking time out your busy schedule. And I always tell people the story. We just had Senator Cory Booker here speaking. And I told him the story of it was a big forest and it kept shrinking. And there was an axe there who was a good politician. He kept trying to tell him to do different things. And the forest kept shrinking. They couldn't understand it because the axe had convinced them he was one of them because his handle was made of wood. Don't be fooled, everybody.
That's right. That's
Mr.
right.
Terry Melvin, I thank you so much for your leadership of the national chapter of CBTU. Honored to be a part of the organization, sir, and thank you for being here.
And thank you, Michael, for all the work that you do and your chapter is doing and leading us on this work. I'm just looking forward to victory in the next few days all across this country based on the work that we have done. We delivered in 2020. We delivered in the rerun in Georgia, and vote.
And get out there and vote. As Phil always has me say, CBTU nationally and locally, we do not endorse any candidate or any issue, but we do endorse your right to vote. We encourage you to do so.
Thank you so much.
Mr. President. We appreciate
Talk
you.
to you soon.
Peace, my brother.
All right, bye.